Hello, everybody, and welcome to the September 2024 edition of Innovative EdTech. It is lovely to have you with us here for this episode, and we have another cracker of an episode to share with you. And this time, we are going back to our Google Workspace ecosphere, and we are exploring Google Classroom. Whether you're new to Google Classroom, whether you've dabbled in it before, or whether you're a pro, we've got a great episode just to make sure that you are able to use this wonderful tool to the full potential that it offers us. Tonight, we have 15 tips and tricks to help you get the most out of this wonderful tool known as Google Classroom. So let's dive into tonight's episode and have a look at what we're going to be exploring. So tonight, I'm going to welcome you to episode 9, just like I do every time we meet every month here as part of Innovative EdTech. I'm going to quickly provide you with an overview of Google Classroom if you are new to Google Classroom, and then we are diving in. Tonight is an episode where we are going to do lots of demonstrating, and we're going to explore 15 tips and tricks to help you make the most out of Google Classroom. So we have 15 wonderful tips and tricks to show you. We're going to demonstrate these to you tonight so you know exactly how to access and achieve these particular items in your own Google Classroom if that's something that you choose to explore either now or in the future. Then we're going to finish off this episode by just reminding you of some of the different ways that you can stay connected with us here at Evolve EdTech, and just remind you, there's a bit of a mistake here. What's coming up next month in episode 10? Yes, we made it to the double digits next month with episode 10. So I'm going to tell you what's coming up in October later on in this episode. Anyway, let's jump into episode 9 and get this party started. All right, so welcome. If you are a regular viewer, welcome back. If you are brand new to Innovative EdTech, thank you so much for joining us. It is wonderful to have you here. My name is Tristan. I am the creator of Evolve EdTech, and I am your host for Innovative EdTech. And thank you so much for joining us. So if you are new to us or you are returning, Innovative EdTech is one way that we are able to give back to you here at Evolve EdTech, and it is our free monthly workshop where we explore a whole range of different EdTech tips, tricks, and tools that may be beneficial for you to explore and add to your EdTech toolkit in the classroom. So if you are new to Innovative EdTech, make sure you head over to the Evolve EdTech YouTube channel and check out our previous episodes from 2024. Or if you are brand new or even just a regular and you've missed any, please make sure that you check those out. We'd also love it if you liked these episodes, and the most important thing is you subscribe to our channel. We would really love to build and increase the number of people that are accessing our channel. So we would love it from the bottom of our heart if you did that as you are joining us for this episode. So thank you again for joining us. I am so privileged to have you here with us. And if you are watching the recording, thank you for joining us. All right, so tonight, Google Classroom. Google Classroom is a fantastic tool, and it's a tool that I recently have started to fall back in love with. It's something that I wasn't really actively using within my own classroom because of the learning management system that my school was embracing, but we've recently had a change, and Google Classroom is now my platform of choice, and I'm starting to really enjoy using this tool. Maybe the students aren't so much because it is a little bit of overload for them at the moment because every teacher in our school seems to be using it. And for some of our students, it's a little bit of a new learning curve, and they're not quite at the point where they're confident using and accessing this tool to its full potential. So tonight we're going to explore how we can really start to work on making this tool the best tool it can be for us and our students in the classroom. So what is Google Classroom? If you haven't heard of this before, you're about to find out what Google Classroom is. So Google Classroom is a free web-based platform designed to simplify the process of creating, distributing, and collecting assignments for teachers and students. So it really is interesting there that the beginning of this particular definition has really focused on that idea of assignments. Yes, it is definitely a fantastic way to create, distribute, and collect assignments and work from your students. However, it is also a fantastic digital hub that you can use to streamline communication with your students, collaboration, and even organization within the classroom. It is a fantastic learning management system that you can employ within your classroom, your subjects, your classes, that is going to make your life so much easier as well as your students. And we're really very lucky right now in 2024 because Google Classroom has just celebrated its 10th anniversary. That's right, it has been around for 10 years. And this particular birthday is always important when you hit the double digits because it was a significant milestone for Google Classroom. So, Google Classroom has evolved so much. It is such a dynamic platform since its iteration 10 years ago in 2014. So happy birthday to Google Classroom, and we look forward to seeing what innovations and what else is added to this wonderful platform in the coming years. So tonight it's all about exploring Google Classroom. How can we really focus on that idea of being able to distribute, collect, create assignments and gather work from our students, as well as creating a platform, a space where we can streamline our communication, we can create really wonderful collaboration opportunities, and we have a fantastic organizational opportunity to make our lives as educators easier and to make the lives of our students even easier as well. So we are going to explore this tonight. All right, so tonight I just want to really just let you know before we dive into having a look at this powerful tool that I am going to demonstrate the 15 tools that we're going to go through tonight. So tonight is a demonstration episode. I am going to actually jump into a Google Classroom and show you all of these. Now, some of these different tips and tricks that I have for you tonight, I will show you where to access these. I won't necessarily be able to show you them in a full perspective because I don't actually have anybody in this particular classroom that I'm going to use for my demonstrations tonight. But I will show you where to go to access and to be able to start working and experimenting with these different tips and features. I do just want to make note that with Google and Google for Education, there are a number of different options available to schools when it comes to subscriptions. So sometimes there might be things that you might see different people share on social media, on other YouTube channels, talking about different aspects and different features that you may not have access to. This is probably due to your district or department or organization selecting a specific paid tier. All right, so there are different options available for organizations when it comes to Google Classroom for educational purposes, and they're not all made evenly. Okay, so some things may only be available in certain tiers, and you may not have access to that. All right, I am going to just really make sure that you understand tonight. I am using a business version of Google Classroom. So I am using the Evolve EdTech version, which is what we pay for so that we can use our Google Workspace. So all of the things that I'm going to share with you tonight are fairly basic, and you should be able to do these across any particular Google Workspace package that you may have access to. So just be aware that some features and functions are only available for different tiered streams that are available from Google for Education. All right, so I think it is time to jump in to exploring these 15 tips and tricks. I have popped them together. I was thinking about this across the weekend. I hope that I have been able to put these together and sequence these in a way that it makes it a little bit easier for you to be able to access these tips and tricks and utilize them. So I hope that that is what I have managed to do. Fingers crossed. But otherwise, you will be able to come back to this particular recording afterwards if you need to check out something, because I have completely stuffed up what I thought was great planning and you are a little bit lost and confused. So tonight it is a demonstration episode. I am jumping into Google Classroom and I am going to show all of these 15 tips and tricks to you in tonight's episode. So I think it is time for me to stop talking and jump right in to our demonstration Google Classroom tonight. So I'm going to hop out of my Canva presentation and I'm going to pop over to my Google Classroom. So if you are new to Google Classroom, there's a couple of different ways that you can access Classroom. All right, we obviously always have our 9 dots if you are using your Google Workspace, and you can access Google Classroom from here. Okay, mine's just there. All right, we can obviously go to Google Classroom on the web and type in Google Classroom into a search engine. And another really handy tip to be able to access Google Classroom really quickly is if you type in classroom.google.com, it'll take you straight to your Google Classroom account. Now, just a little tidbit here, that just be aware that it will take you to whatever Google Classroom account is logged into your browser. So, for example, I am logged into this account with my personal Gmail account. So if I was to go classroom.google.com now, it would take me to my personal email Google Classroom account, whereas I want to use my Evolve EdTech account. So I just need to make sure that I head over here to the right-hand corner and I swap my account out so that it is going to then open up in the account that I want to use. So if you have a personal Gmail account, okay, and you have a school account that you use, just make sure that you check to make sure that you are working in the right account, because you don't want to be creating heaps of things and find out that you're in the wrong account. Okay, that's going to be an absolute disaster. So please check that before you get started. All right, so little bonus tip here. If you are brand new to Google Classroom, all right, this is our interface. At the moment, this one is really basic. We have a demonstration class here, which I have already previously created, and that is the demonstration class that we're going to use tonight. But I'm just very quickly going to go through some of these features just here on our homepage so that you know what these are here. So we obviously have a menu bar here on the left-hand side, which does open and close based on what you are using. All right, we have the home option. We also have the ability to access our calendar. This is fantastic if you are creating assignments with due dates in your Google Classrooms, because it will pop them into your Google Calendar, which is fantastic if you want to keep track of those things. Then we have our teaching section here. Okay, we have to review, which will obviously take us to work that we need to check for our students. So I have this particular example task here, all right, that I would probably check, although no one's completed it because no one's done anything. Then you will have your Google Classroom classes listed here. Obviously, I only have one, so that is only why you will see one here. We have our archived classes. I'm going to talk to you more about that later. And then our settings. Our settings are also really important when it comes to our Google Classroom ecosphere and what we're going to use it for. And we will dive into those settings a little bit more as well, okay? So they are really useful when it comes to making sure that you are managing your classroom effectively and efficiently. All right, so that is the basic of what we can access over here on the left-hand side. What I'm going to do very quickly now as a bonus tip is show you how to create a brand new class if you are brand new to Google Classroom. So Google Classroom bonus tip number 1 is creating a new Google Classroom. So the first thing we need to do is head into Google Classroom, and then we're going to head up to the top right-hand corner, and you will see there is a plus button. Now, if we hover over that plus button, you will see that it tells us that we can create or join a class. So what you're going to do is click on that plus button. We would like to create a class, so this is where we are going to press create class. And then it is going to provide us with a pop-up box, which is where we're going to pop in our class name. Okay, it is the most important component. The section, subject, and room are up to you. Depending on how your particular education system is set up, will just determine whether or not you use that. I'm based in Australia, so generally we don't really teach the same year group to or the same subject and year group multiple times a day. I have 5 different classes that I teach at my particular school, so I wouldn't necessarily need to put in a section or a subject or a room because each of my classes is going to have their own discrete particular Google Classroom page. But if you're teaching year 8 science and you have 4 classes a day, you might like to pop that in there so that it's really clear which class belongs to which period so that you don't get it mixed up and accidentally assign the wrong work to the wrong class. So that is how you create a brand new Google Classroom class. Just head up to the top right-hand corner, press the plus button, and then create the class from there. All right, so that was bonus Google Classroom tip number 1. But now let's dive into our very first Google Classroom tip. So Google Classroom tip number 1. All right, this is one of the favorites, and this is how we can customize the theme and banner of our Google Classroom. We can give our Google Classroom a little bit of personality. So let's dive in and open up our demonstration account here. Okay, now what we want to do to be able to customize the theme and the banner, so the banner is this section just here telling us Evolve EdTech demonstration class, is we're just going to head over here to this customize button. We're going to click on that, and then we have the option to customize our theme, our appearance, and even upload a brand new photo, a brand new banner that we can use to create some personality and to make this classroom our own. So down here, we have some theme colors. All right. These just change the colors that you are using. So if you have particular colors, particular colors, for particular classes, allocated is the word I was trying to remember that was not coming to me just then. This is where you might decide to choose those. So at the moment, we're on this kind of pale blue, this light blue. If I wanted to change it to pink, I would just select that, and then you will see that all of the icons, all of the information within my page will now turn into pink. Now, if I want to change this particular header image, there's a couple of really cool things I can do. So I can head over here to select photo, and there are some generic particular banners that have been created that are available for you if you would like to go through and choose one of those. Okay, they are very generic, they are very simple, but did you know that if you want to get a little bit adventurous and you want to create a little bit of personality, we could actually upload our own banner to our Google Classroom. And lucky for you, I'm going to show you how you can do that with one of my favorite tools known as Canva. So if none of those photos that are, stock standard in Google Classroom appeal to you, you might like to head over to Canva and create your own. So I'm going to head over to Canva, and what you are going to do, and this is going to perhaps blow some people's minds, is we're just going to head up here to the search box up the top, and all I'm going to type in is Google Classroom. Okay, Google Classroom, and we're just going to search for Google Classroom, and now it's going to provide us with a whole heap of Canva templates that we can then go and edit, download, and upload to our Google Classroom pages. How amazing is that? Look at these. These look absolutely fantastic. How amazing. This is your chance to provide your Google Classroom with a little bit of personality. So I might have a look at this one just here, this welcome one. Beautiful. So I can go in there, I can edit that, I can change the colors, I can do virtually anything I want. I'm just going to head over here to, oh no, I'm going to customize this template. Okay. So it's now going to create that as a template, in my Canva account. Okay, so here it is now in my Canva account. There we go. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All I'm going to do now is head up to my share button in the top right-hand corner. And I'm just going to scroll down to download. All right, I'm going to download that as a PNG. Going to press download. It's going to pop into my downloads folder. Still doing a little bit of thinking there. And then all I'm going to do is head back to my demonstration account, select upload photo, find where it's located. So I'm going to go just here to select a photo from my computer. I'm going to head to my downloads. I'm going to select it, and bam, it's going to appear in my Google Classroom. So I'm just going to fix up the cropping mechanism just here so everything is beautiful. And then I'm going to select this bottom blue button, select class theme, and it's going to pop it in as my header image. How marvelous does that look? You can personalize your Google Classroom banner. Now, I can hear a few people asking me, what is this gray just here over the title of the class? All right, I'm going to tell you that you can't actually remove this. This is an accessibility feature. So just be mindful that whatever you create in something like Canva with your beautiful banner, that you're always going to have this accessibility feature just here in the bottom third of your particular banner. So don't stress too much about that. That is just to make sure that this particular page is accessible to those people that have additional needs, okay? And we need to make sure that we are catering for them. So that is our first Google Classroom tip. We can actually create a really fantastic classroom banner. We can customize the theme to make the classroom ours. So that is our first Google Classroom tip for tonight. How cool is that? All right, let's head over to Google Classroom tip number 2. All right, now there's a couple of ways that you can actually do what I'm about to show you, but I personally think that this particular way is the easiest way if you would like to ensure that a number of students are able to access your Google Classroom page much more quickly and efficiently. So Google Classroom tip number 2 is that you can create a class code for easy enrollment. So when you create a Google Classroom page, each page already has a class code which your students can access so that they are able to enroll and access all of the information and assignments that you have added or that you will add to your Google Classroom page. So I think this is the easiest way to allow your students to join your class, because the second way does require a little bit of manual entering of data. And if that's not necessarily so quickly and efficiently accessible, it might take you a little bit of time. So if you, for example, are watching this now and you went to Google Classroom and you typed in that class code, you would be able to join this particular class. All right. You also have the ability to send a class invitation link to your students so that they are able to join the class as well. The other really handy thing here is that we do have our 3 dots, okay, with our class code option here. Our 3 dots always mean there are more options. So we have the ability, okay, to copy that class code invite. We can copy the class code. All right, we can reset the code. So if I clicked this now, all right, it is going to change the code. Or you also have the option to turn the code off. Okay, so this will remove the class code and invite link. All right, but you can always go back in and you can always recreate and regenerate that later. So I'm just going to turn that off because otherwise I might have oodles of people coming and joining this class tonight, and this is just a demonstration class. So I'm just going to turn that off just for privacy and safety reasons, all right? But being able to create and use that class code is a absolute time saver. Another way that you can allow your students to join is through the People tab, okay? And you can manually enter the students here by popping in their email addresses. Again, it's handy if you have them accessible, but it might take a little bit of time if you have a large number of students in your class or classes. All right, let's head over to Google Classroom tip number 3, and that is creating and using Google Classroom for announcements. Okay, so if you have a post or you have an announcement that you need to share with your students, Google Classroom could be the place that is the best way for you to do this. So at the moment, we are on our homepage of our demonstration Google Classroom page just here. And what you can see is at the moment, I've got a number of different announcements or a number of different resources or assessments that have been uploaded and created in our classroom. And you can see these in our stream. So just like on Facebook, on all of the social media platforms, we have a stream in Google Classroom. Now, this stream can get a little bit messy, okay? It can get a little bit hectic sometimes. So you might need to teach your students that this is just a handy way of seeing and checking for updates, but there are other ways to find resources such as materials or topics or quizzes or assignments through other options, including the classwork tab. So let's have a look and let me show you how easy it is to create an announcement. So I'm going to create an announcement here. I might be creating a welcome announcement for my students because this is a brand new classroom. So I might be like, hello, everyone. Oops. Welcome to our new classroom. Please be respectful and supportive of each other, and we will have lots of fun. So you can pop in anything that you would like here, okay? You can decide whether you are just going to send this to the whole cohort in this particular classroom or whether you'd like to send this announcement to specific students. Great if you have some small groups. Great if you are particularly focusing on collaboration, all right? So this is a really handy way to do that. We also do have some editing options here with bold, italics, underline. We have some bullets. Okay, we can pop in some emojis. We can also connect to our Google Drive. We can add a YouTube link. We can upload files, links, etc. We also do have some other options here where we can post the message immediately. We can schedule it or we can save the draft. So if I post this right now, that will go straight into the stream for my students to be able to see, and they will be able to have a look at that. So that is a really handy way if you want to just very quickly update something with your students. Maybe your class has changed, maybe you're changing classrooms, maybe you're absent for the day, maybe the assessment task is just a reminder that something is due soon. You can create that with the stream here and the ability to create posts and announcements in Google Classroom. Fantastic way to really very quickly communicate with your students in one single location. All right, so let's head over to Google Classroom tip number 4. And this is another one that is linked to this idea of our posts. And this is where we can actually pin important posts to the top of our stream. So if we have something really specific that we want our students to make sure that they notice, but we have also uploaded a whole range of resources into materials, or we've created a whole heap of new assessments, and we know that this particular message that's really important might get lost, what we can actually do is move a post to the top of the stream so that it's the first thing our students see. So for example, let's head back to our post that I have just created, welcoming people to our new classroom tonight. So let's say I actually want this one to be the first thing that my students see when they log in and when they access Google Classroom tomorrow. So all I'm going to do is head over again to the three dots, and you will see here, and I've done a little bit of a lie here, you will see here that it has the ability to move to top. I can't move this one to the top because it is already at the top, okay? But if I head down here to, say, this particular quiz, this life cycle of a butterfly, and I click the three dots here, you can see that I can now move that to the top of the stream, and you will see it is the first thing that your students will notice. So now if I head back to our welcome message, I can move that to the top, and that will be the first thing my students will see when they are joining and accessing Google Classroom, either each day, each lesson, or each time that they are using it. So that could be a really handy feature if you are regularly posting important information or announcements that you think your students should be able to access readily and easily in your Google Classroom stream. All right, let's head over to Google Classroom tip number 5. And this is a really important feature and something I want you to be mindful of. And it is a personal choice as to whether or not you allow this particular function to be active. And that is class comments. All right. So at the moment, you can see here that under my particular announcement here, welcoming people, welcoming my students to our classroom, that there is the option to add a class comment. All right. So now my students could, come in here, yo, was up, sir. All right. They can come in here and they can now start responding to these particular posts in the stream. All right. Then your students can start to have conversations. They can start to be communicating in a way that they may feel is really, suitable for them. Now, this is what I'm saying is a personal preference. You may decide that you don't necessarily want your students to be able to reply to the posts in your stream. You don't want them to be able to reply to each other because you want to keep your classroom manageable. So there's a couple of ways that we can go and we can manage this. So I'm going to head over here to the cog in our menu on the left-hand side. And I did mention this earlier here, but you've got the notifications here. Okay, this is really important because this will tell you what information that you will get as well. So if you want all of the comments on your posts to come through in your email and to clog it up, you might decide whether or not to keep that function available. Okay, so be mindful of that. All right, going to head back to my classroom, and I'm actually going to head up to the cog in the top right-hand corner, the class settings. So this one here is the communication settings. All right, so you need to work out what information you would like to be emailed from your classroom. And then this one up here in the top right-hand corner are our classroom settings. So this is where we can head down, okay, and we can decide what our students can do. So we're going to hover down to Streamwork and Classwork, and this is where we have some options. So we've got our stream here. We can decide whether students can post and comment, whether students can only comment, or only teachers can post and comment. All right, so that is up to you. We have the same here for classwork on the stream. So we can decide whether we want condensed notifications, we want to show attachments. We have a lot of flexibility in terms of how our stream is going to appear to our students. So if you don't want your students to be able to post or comment, just select that. Make sure you press the blue save button. And now if we head back to our stream here, okay, you will find that your students will no longer have this option here. I still have this option because I am the classroom teacher, okay, so I will still be able to do that, but my students won't have that function and accessibility. So this is a personal preference as to whether or not you want to allow your students to be able to comment or post to your stream. All right, let's head over to Google Classroom tip number 6. All right, this is a great one, and this is the fact that we can now add multiple teachers to one Google Classroom. So if you have a co-teacher or you have some other support teachers that might benefit from being able to access your classroom, we can add those to our classroom as well. So we're going to head up here to our People tab, which is just across from our Stream and Classwork tabs. And we are going to click on this. The easiest way to do this is we're just going to click on the Invite Teachers function just here, and then you are just going to pop in their email address, and then the invitation is going to be sent to them, and they will accept that, and then they will be able to access your particular classroom. All right, so it is really, really simple to add co-teachers, to add other teachers that may need access to your classroom so that they are able to collaborate and be part of your Google Classroom for your students. So that is another fantastic way that Google Classroom can not only benefit yourself, but also assist other teachers that may be working with you or students in your class. All right, let's head over to our Classwork tab. We haven't talked about this tab yet, but this is also going to be one of the most important places that you are going to use if you are going to dabble and explore with Google Classroom. So this is where we are going to create a whole range of resources, assessments, quizzes, all kinds of different things that our students might need to access. So let's head over to Google Classroom tip number 7, okay? And that is using topics for organization. So I'm going to show you how we can organize our Google Classroom so that it is nice and clear and structured so that it's easy for our students to be able to access the content that you are uploading and sharing on Google Classroom. All right, so the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to click on the Create button here. I was going to say the blue Create button, but I'm going to stop myself from that because it's only blue because that is the theme color that I selected. So just be aware that it may be a different color for you depending on what you have selected. So when you click on the Create button just here in Classwork, you will see that you have a number of different options here. You will have assignment, you will have quiz assignment, question, material, reuse post, and topic. Now you can see that I've got a couple of others here with book widgets and Kami assignment. They are because I have extensions. All right, I'm not going to talk about those in this episode, but they are additional features that I can use to elevate my Google Classroom even further for my students. But I'm not going to talk about those today, so don't fret if you don't see those in your own Google Classroom. So Google Classroom tip number 7 is using topics. Now, I love this, and I think this is one of the best features in Google Classroom, and that is the ability to be able to create topics. So let's say that our Google Classroom is like our textbook. Our topics can be those chapters, they can be those segments, those units that we're going to explore with our students. And I think it is really great to be able to create an environment that is going to be easy and accessible for our students. So if you head down here to topic, all right, all you're going to do is name the topic. So maybe we call this module 1. Okay, you can see that you have 100 characters. All right, so you will now see here that we have module 1. Let's go and add some more modules here. Module 2. Okay, let's go. Oops. I'm going to go and add another one, module 3. And the really great thing is you can create these as early as you like. You can create them as you're going and moving through a unit. All right, it is so simple. So you can see here that I have 3 topics that I have created, module 1, module 2, module 3. All right, if you're a little bit of somebody that might have a little bit of OCD and you don't like the fact that the most current module is the lowest on your particular list, all right, we can actually drag and drop these and rearrange these, which is a fantastic element, okay, a fantastic part of Google Classroom. So you can actually quite easily rearrange these, which is super amazing if you like to keep a very clear structure. So here we are, we have our modules, we have them in the order that we are looking for, that we know will be easy for our students. And then maybe once we finish module one, we can move that to the bottom so that our students aren't getting lost and it's easy for them to find their work. Again, we have our 3 dots, which means it is really easy to edit. Okay, we can rename, we can delete, we can copy the link to this particular module, all right, and we can also move that module there as well. All right, so let's head on to Google Classroom tip number 8, which is using emojis to help with organization. So did you know that we can actually add emojis to our titles of those topics and assignments to create a really visually appealing classroom, but also to make it a little bit easier for our students to be able to find what they're looking for. So if we'd like to do that, we just literally head over to our 3 dots, we rename, and then we would pop our emoji in there. So maybe we say to our students, all right, we're looking for the love heart emoji, which is module 3. So can you head over to Google Classroom, head to the classwork tab, and we are looking for the topic called love heart module 3. And then your students know that they are looking for a love heart. Maybe it's a red love heart, a green love heart, a blue love heart, but it's really easy for them to be able to find by looking for that singular emoji visual so that they're able to know exactly what they need to be working on. You can also do this when it comes to adding material to your topics, creating your assignments. All right, there are so many ways that you can use emojis in Google Classroom to help your students find what they need to find. So have some fun, all right? I don't have any emojis on me at the moment, all right? Otherwise, I would have popped some emojis in there. Actually, do you know what? Let's try this. I do not know if this is going to work. Okay, let's see if the love heart emoji is going to work here. It didn't work, but that's okay. All right, I'm doing this live. Sometimes things just don't go right. But using emojis to really help create that visual and to help make organization more simplistic, another fantastic tip when it comes to using Google Classroom. All right, let's head over to Google Classroom tip number 9, and that is linking to external resources. So we can create materials that our students can access that are outside of the Google Workspace ecosphere. So we might have them being linked to a YouTube video. We might be having them linked to a Canva template. We might have another resource, a Kahoot game, Bamboozle. We could have absolutely anything that we might ask our students to access. So let me show you how easy it is to do this. So I'm going to come back up here to create. I'm actually going to create a material this time. All right. Materials are really great if you've got something that you would like your students to go and access, but they don't necessarily need to complete it in Google Classroom or using Google themselves. So let me say, I might call this Module 1 Review Quiz. All right, you can pop in your description here, okay? And then you can actually attach a number of different things. We have access to Drive, so maybe you have a workbook or a worksheet or something that you would like your students to complete. We can add a YouTube video. We can create a document using Google. All right, we can upload something, or we can add a link just here. So I don't have any links on me, so we might head over to my website and we might just grab this one here for the EdTech collections, and I'm going to paste that in there. And then that link is now accessible for my students so that when they head into the classroom, they literally will just click on that to be able to access that particular resource. So you pop in your description, your instructions, and then the link is available for your students, okay? So being able to link to those external resources is so super simple when you're using Google Classroom, okay? And then again, if you would like to use a piece of material that you have created, we can post it, all right, which will post it straight away to your students. We can also decide who we are going to assign it to. So if we have students working in particular groups, looking at particular topics, you can create individualized material, information with resources that only goes to those particular students. I don't have any students in this classroom at the moment, so I can't show that to you, but that is a really handy dandy way of being able to create resources that are specific for students. We also do have a couple of other options here. We have the schedule option. I'm not going to show that to you just yet. We can also save it. So if it's not quite ready to be distributed to students, we can save that and come back to it later. And we can also discard the draft. I'm going to save this one just to show you what it will look like. All right, so you can see it is just here and it has the word draft just there. So we know that it is not complete and it needs to be finessed before it is made available to our students. All right, let's head over to Google Classroom tip number 10, and that is creating templates for assignments. Now, I absolutely love this, and this is something that I have been using quite extensively over the past couple of months with my students as we dive back in to using Google Classroom, and that is creating templates. So to create your assignment and your templates, I'm going to head up here to my create button again. I am going to create my assignment. There are lots of options just here. I'm not going to show you all of these right now, but you never know. Stay tuned because you might find out a little bit more about these shortly. Again, you're going to give your assignment its topic, make it something obvious, clear. Use those emojis again if you would like to. Pop in your instructions for your students. Generally, I just take these from the task or I take these from the assignment, information that has been given to the students in a physical paper copy, and I just pop that in there so that their students have access to that as well. Then you have your options again, which are very similar to our material component. So if we have something in our Google Drive, we can attach that. We can attach a YouTube video. Okay, we can upload an external document like a Word document or a PDF, and we can add our link. But the one component that I absolutely love when it comes to creating templates is the ability to create a template using a Google tool. So maybe you have something that you'd like to create in docs or slides. You can do that right here. Okay, so let's create a doc right now. So we can go in there and it's going to open that up into a Google Doc for me. I can do whatever I need to do for this particular activity, this worksheet, this workbook. All right, I can edit and format and make that as beautiful as I need just there in this particular template. And then all I do is I head back to my classroom. Okay, and this is really important, this particular part here, because I made this mistake today. And yes, I do still make mistakes. And I did make this mistake with a student and a class, and they picked it up. Only one student picked it up before I fixed it up. But my suggestion is that we always make a copy for each student. This means that each of your students that are enrolled in your class will be able to access this particular template in their own Google Classroom account. All right, it makes it easier for you to keep track with what they have done, and we don't get any students clicking on the request button, which is what happened to me today before I realized I had made a boo-boo. So it is always my high recommendation that you make a copy of your template for each student simply by clicking make a copy for each student, which means they will all get their own personalized copy. You won't have any problems with students, requesting access to a document. So it is my big recommendation that you always select that. But being able to create a template is amazing. It's so super simple. And once you've created those templates, you will be able to reuse them. And I'm going to talk to you about that a little bit later. So creating those templates in your assignments, absolutely amazing and a huge time saver. All right, I'm going to hop out of this one and we're going to jump in to Google Classroom tip number 11. And we're going to head back to assignments. All right, I'm going to talk to you about something that I've already alluded to a little bit earlier, and it's a fantastic element that really sets Google Classroom apart from a lot of other applications. So we're going to head back to our assignments. Okay, so say that maybe we would like to differentiate our assignments within our classroom, all right, but we don't necessarily want our students to know that that person has a different version to that person and that person, that person, that person, etc. So what we can do is we can create this just like normal, and then over here on the right-hand side is where the magic happens. So you will see here that we have this assign to option again. All right. Now this has come up in the materials, which I showed you earlier. And this is where you can actually decide who you are going to assign this particular assignment to. So maybe we have two versions. Okay. And one version is a little bit easier with more scaffolding for particular students than the other version. So we can actually create these assignments separately and assign them to those students who need that additional support. So no one's going to know that they've got something different. Okay. They're going to jump in and they are going to get started with that particular assignment. So it is so easy to differentiate and support your students by creating and assigning those different assignments and those different tasks in your assignment option in Google Classroom. So simple, and it is going to make your students appreciate the fact that they have been catered for and their learning needs and experiences are being met in a really, really super amazing way. All right, let's keep going with the idea of assignments in Google Classroom. And we are up to Google Classroom tip number 12. And that is attaching rubrics to assignments. So we can create and attach rubrics to our assignments to ensure that our students know exactly what they need to do to demonstrate their achievement. So what we're going to do is we are just going to, I'm going to just put in demo, oh, not demon, demo assignment. Okay, fill in your instructions there. Okay, do whatever you need to do. And then over here on the right hand side, you will see we have a section called rubric, and we have a rubric button here. So I'm going to press this. Okay, and we have some options. We can create a brand new rubric. We can reuse a rubric that we have previously created, or we can import from Sheets. So I'm going to click on create rubric today, and just here is where you will be able to start to create your rubric just here. We have some options. We can use scoring. We can change it from descending, or we could make it ascending. We pop in our criterion title, our description, our points, our level description. Okay, we can continue to add more elements here. Okay, we can add more criteria here. You can basically do whatever you need to do to make that particular rubric work for you and to ensure that your students know exactly what you are looking for when you are assessing their learning. Okay, so that is a fantastic way to be able to really embed all of these digital edtech elements into one ecosphere right here with Google Classroom. We've created the assignment. We have a template using a Google Doc or slides, okay? And now we have given our students the option to have a look and see a digital rubric so that they know what they need to do in order to demonstrate their learning. So great to be able to keep this all nice and tightly packaged in one simple location. All right, let's head back to our demo assignment right now and head in to Google Classroom tip number 13. And this is a really fantastic component that Google and Google Classroom have added, which is called the originality reports. And it is where we are going to start to check our students' work for plagiarism. So again, we're going to create our assignment. We're going to fill in all of the relevant information. We're going to attach or we're going to create our templates, whatever resources our students need. All right, we're going to decide who this particular task is assigned to. We're going to decide whether this is graded or ungraded, our due dates. All right, and then down here, you will see that there is an option to tick for check plagiarism. Okay, so you can create and enable originality reports on 5 assignments per class. Okay, so this is really great to check your students' work. All right, so have a think about what you'd like to enable this on, okay, because we can't do it for everything. So just think about those really important things that you'd like to check, all right? And if you enable that, you'll be able to see what your students are doing. All right, let's head over to Google Classroom tip number 14. So I am going to head out of our assignment demo just here, and we're going to head back to our classwork page, and we are going to have a look at how we can schedule posts. This is another fantastic feature of Google Classroom that I absolutely love. So if you are a very organized teacher and you'd like to create a whole heap of resources, assignments that you would like to be scheduled and sent out to students on a particular day at a particular time, you can do that with Google Classroom. So if I head in here, I might head back to our Module 1 review quiz just here, which we drafted earlier. I'm going to click on Edit Material. All right, you can see that has been created. We saved it as a draft earlier, but now we want to schedule it for our students. So we're going to head up to the top right-hand corner here to our post button. Now we're not going to press post because that's going to post it immediately. We're actually going to go over here to our drop-down arrow. And we know from earlier that we have a schedule option. So I'm going to press the schedule option here. It's going to pop in the date, and I have discovered that the date is always the next day. So if you would like to schedule something for your current day, just make sure that you select that because it's always going to default to the next day. Pop in your time if you'd like it to be scheduled to be released at a particular time, and then you simply schedule that. Now that particular material, assignment, quiz will now be scheduled for your particular date and time, and you can see that here because it tells us that Module 1 quiz review has been scheduled for tomorrow at 8 a.m. Now, if you've made a bit of a boo-boo, again, our 3 dots come in very handy. We just head back in here, okay, and you will see that we can actually change the scheduled date and time, and we can update that. So really simple, okay? You can schedule virtually anything. So you can schedule assignments, quiz assignments, okay, questions. Yeah, so you can schedule these. You can be so organized and have these created in your classroom, and you can schedule them to come and be released to your students on particular dates at particular times. Going to make your life so much easier. It's going to streamline your organization and make you look like an absolute pro because all of these wonderful learning experiences are going to be available for your students. All right, we are up to Google Classroom tip number 15, the final tip, okay? And this is a wonderful tip. So Google Classroom tip number 15 is utilizing Google Forms for quizzes. So we've had a look at how we can use docs and slides and things like this, but we can actually create self-grading quizzes in Google Classroom using Google Forms. How cool is that? So I'm going to head over to our create button because that's where the magic starts. And we've got a couple of options here. We do have our quiz assignment just here, and that is the one that we're going to select right now, okay? So again, very similar to our assignments, but this time, I don't know whether you have seen it here, but we have a blank quiz that has been created just here. And this is where we are going to create our quiz in Google Forms for our students to use. Now, I have tried that this year and it is fantastic and it is so simple. So if we want to edit this, we literally click on the blank quiz link just here. It takes us to our blank quiz. We complete the quiz. All right, we add all of the different elements, our answer keys. We do whatever we need to do. We go and edit and change our responses and settings and things like that so that our students are able to use this as soon as they jump in to their classroom. Again, we can assign this to particular students if we would like to maybe have a look at some different differentiation. All right, we can decide whether it's worth a particular grade. We can have a due date. We can pop this in a topic. So I haven't showed this one to you yet. So another bonus Google Classroom tip. We can actually put all of these materials, assignments, quizzes, questions into a topic. So I might pop this one into module 3. So now if I was to head up here, oops, I just need to put a title in. So demo, no, I keep going demon. I don't know why I keep writing demon. Demo quiz. All right, if I assign this right now and I head back to my classroom stream, you will see that it has now been placed into module 3. So I have actually placed that into that particular topic. You can also pop drafts into your particular topics, but we can also move these just like we could rearrange. So it's really easy to move and it's really easy to pop our particular activities and our drafts straight into our topics in our classwork stream. Okay, so that is the 15th really amazing way that you could use Google Classroom. Did I say 15? Oh, sorry. We've got 3 more. I don't know why I've just held up 6 fingers. We've got 3 more. That's right. You know that here at Evolve EdTech, we always love to chuck in some more. So I've got 3 more wonderful ways that you could make Google Classroom even more amazing. And this one leads on beautifully from the quiz option that we've just talked about to the question feature. So if you'd like to just create some quick questions for your students to access and use, all right, this is the next tip number 16 that we have for you tonight. So Google Classroom tip number 16 is using the question feature to engage your students in quick polls or discussions. So again, we just head to our classwork page, we click on our create option, and we are going to hover down to question. All right, so very similar in our structure to all of the other tools that we've used, but there's a couple of small changes. So we have to pop in our question, we can pop in some instructions, we can decide if it is a short answer or a multiple choice question. And then over here on our right-hand side, again, we can have different questions for different students. We can allocate it grading, make it graded or ungraded. We can pop in our due date. We can move it to a topic just like we talked about. But we can also decide whether our students are going to be able to reply to each other and whether our students can edit their responses once they have submitted those. So maybe you've got a short answer question that you'd like your students to answer. Okay, you might decide that you just want to be able to see those and you don't want your students to respond to each other. So we're going to untick that. But we don't mind if our students head back in and edit that particular response afterwards because maybe they realized they completely missed something, or maybe they'd like to add another example, or maybe they'd just like to fix up their writing or their response so that they are able to truly reflect their particular learning for this topic. So this could be really cool for those really quick exit tickets, okay? Really great way to start a lesson, that retrieval practice, seeing what your students remember from last time. So the quiz and question options are fantastic ways to really engage your students when it comes to using Google Classroom. All right, I have 2 more very quick tips that I'm going to share with you tonight, and I think you're going to love both of these. All right, Google Classroom tip number 17 is, did you know that every Google Classroom page has a Google Classroom Drive created? That's right. So you can actually keep all of those materials that you have created in your Google Classroom really organized in a Google Drive folder, and it creates this automatically. And then everything that you create in your Google Classroom is also automatically added to this particular folder. So I'm going to head over here and I'm going to head to my drive. Now it's going to take me to my personal drive first. So I'm going to, of course, I'm trying to do these things too fast. So I'm going to head over to my Evolve EdTech account just here. And you will see that we have a folder here called Classroom. If I double click on this and head into that, you will find there is my demonstration account. And then anything that you create within your Google Classroom account, you will be able to find just here. So I've got these quizzes, these documents. Obviously, I would hope that you would name these so you knew what they were. All right. This is really handy because, again, you can reuse these, okay, in Google Classroom in future. So if I came back to my Google Classroom page, I went to create, I went to assignment, okay, I popped in all my details. I know that I have created the template that I would like my students to use for this particular task. I know that it's in my drive, okay. I can head over here. I can head to my drive. I'm going to head to my classroom drive, head to my classroom, and then I can attach that one to this particular assignment. I don't need to recreate it. So once you've created these tools, once they are in your Google Drive folders, you have access to those for as long as you would like. How cool, how amazing. It's going to make your life so much easier because you won't have to reinvent the wheel every single time you would like to create and reuse the same assignments. All right, let's wrap this up with Google Classroom tip number 18, and that is archiving classes. So maybe you have finished with a particular class, a particular semester, and you find that having all of these classes in our classroom homepage is too overwhelming. You can actually archive them so that they are still, they're still there, but they're not taking up a whole heap of valuable real estate. So if you would like to archive any of your former Google Classroom classes, all we simply do is head to the homepage of Google Classroom. You will see your classes here, and we're going to click our three dots. Our three dots always mean more options, and then we have the ability to archive. Okay, it will pop up with this little message telling you that archiving a class causes it to be archived for all participants and will unlink your SIS if your class is linked. Okay. Archived classes can't be modified by teachers or students unless you restore them. All right. And the class will move to your archived classes section. Class files will remain in that Google Drive folder. So you will still have access to those for future classes. All right. But that particular class that you are archiving will just move to our archived classes folder. So if you have a large number of classes that you are no longer using, all right, it's probably a great idea just to do a regular archiving, just to keep it neat so that we're not accidentally making a mistake and using the wrong class. All right. We don't want that, especially when we know that our time as educators is so precious. We don't want to be making a mistake and having to go and fix it and waste time that we could have been using working on creating wonderful resources and activities for our students. Well, there we go. That was a lot, okay? But there were 18 wonderful ways that you can really use Google Classroom and get so much out of it, all right? I know that was very quick. I know that we couldn't dive into this. We could take forever if we wanted to really show you these wonderful tools. But they're just 18 wonderful ways that you can get so much out of Google Classroom. So let's wrap up and just very quickly go back through those 18 wonderful tips that we've shared with you tonight. So tonight we have showed you how to customize your class theme and banner. We've shown you how to create those class codes to make enrollment into Google Classroom so much easier. We've shown you how you can use Google Classroom for announcements and updates. We've shown you how to post those important posts to the top. We've shown you how you can enable comments for your classes to really foster that collaborative effort. We've also shown you how you can add additional teachers to your classrooms if you need those particular people to access your classrooms. We've shown you how to use topics to create a really organized classroom for yourself and your students. We've shown you how you can use emojis to create and make it easier for your students to access and find information. We've shown you how easy it is to link to external resources, create a template for an assignment using Google Documents, Google Slides, Google Forms, basically anything that you would like. We've shown you how you can differentiate assignments by sharing different assignments with different students within the class. We've shown you how you can create rubrics for assignments using Google Classroom. We've talked about the originality report so that you can have a look at plagiarism within your particular class. We've shown you how easy it is to be organized and schedule your assignments, questions, and materials for your students at a later date. We've also gone and had a quick look at how we can create a Google form quiz that is going to create such engaging lessons and learning experiences for your students. We've then very quickly finished off with 3 bonus tips tonight, which is having a look at how we can use the question feature to create really simple questions and activities for our students that could be used for retrieval practice or exit tickets, etc. We've had a look at how all of those wonderful templates and activities that we have created are then popped into our class drive in Google Drive so that we can access and reuse those. And then we finished off by showing you how easy it is to archive your classes in Google Classroom. Woo, boy, that was a lot. I can't believe we've made it through only 18 wonderful features of Google Classroom tonight. Woo! Okay, so Google Classroom. It is a really valuable tool for not only yourself as a teacher, but also your students. All right. It can simplify communication. It can enhance collaboration. It can streamline organization. And it is a fantastic, indispensable resource in today's digital age that I highly encourage you to think about using and accessing with your students if you're in that particular environment where you have access to this amazing tool. So have a look at Google Classroom and see how it could be a really useful tool to add to your EdTech teacher toolkit. All right, well, that brings us to the end. Thank you so much for joining us. We have gone over time tonight, but that is just because there are so many amazing features of Google Classroom that it just takes time to get through them. And we really didn't dive in and show you them in a lot of depth tonight. This was a very quick demonstration, but hopefully you've got a little bit of an idea as to how you could use and get a lot out of Google Classroom. So we would love it if you would stay connected with us here at Evolve EdTech. Head over to our website. We've got a whole range of tips, tricks, and tools that you can access there. We've also got our YouTube channel, and if you haven't liked this particular video, we hope that you will do that very soon. And please subscribe to our channel. Subscribing to our channel motivates us. We want to help you have fun with EdTech in your classroom, and subscribing to our channel is one way to do that. We are on all of our different socials there, so you can join us, okay, if you would like to keep up to date with what we are doing and creating here at Evolve EdTech. All right. As I mentioned earlier, don't forget, if you are new to Innovative EdTech or you haven't been able to catch up with all of our episodes so far, you can head over to our YouTube channel and head over to the Innovative EdTech Season 1 2024 playlist, and you can catch up on our previous episodes. All right, I will just tell you though, our this particular playlist has had a little bit of a glow up, so the images, the thumbnails might be a little bit different, but you can find that on our website and also on our YouTube channel. All right, a really amazing thing that we have here at Evolve EdTech is we actually have some really outstanding digital templates which you can access for free. So at the moment, we have over 80 digital templates that you can download from the Evolve EdTech website. So if you would like to explore all of the different templates that we have available for you to use in your classroom, just head over to evolveedtech.com/templates to check those out today. So there's more than 80 templates that we have created for you to use and access in your classroom. So we would love it if you were looking for some more learning or to really dive into this world of EdTech, to check out our free workshop, Smart Classrooms, Navigating the Digital Education Landscape, where we go through 10 reasons why it's really important that we look at why EdTech is essential in our classrooms today and why it's really important to promote and use EdTech effectively with our students. So you can head over to evolveedtech.com/smart classrooms to access that particular workshop today. All right, that brings us to the end of episode 9 of Innovative EdTech. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode. It has been a big one, and thank you for sticking with us. We love you and we really appreciate you. We will be back in October for episode number 10. We're finally turning 10 with our 10th episode of season 1. And next month, we're going to have a look at another wonderful tool known as Book Creator. We're going to have a look at how we can be innovative and how we can elevate learning experiences with Book Creator. So please make sure that you join us on Monday, the 14th of October, 2027 at 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, which will be Melbourne, Australia time for Innovative EdTech episode number 10. Anyway, that brings us to the end. Thank you for sticking with us tonight. We love you. Make sure that you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out evolveedtech.com. My name is Tristan. Please stay connected with us, and we can't wait to see you again next month for episode number 10 of Innovative EdTech. All right, everybody. Until then, I hope you stay very safe, and I will catch up with you again next month. See you later, everybody.